Greetings, beloved. Welcome to this evening here on Togetherness Media. We're so overjoyed that you're here with us today. Check us out online on togethernessmedia.com, the Togetherness Media app, and also on our Instagram page, Togetherness Media. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the whole world, and come join us, and we'll be back in a few moments. Back, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us. Today we have my co-host Ellie here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. And hello everybody from Los Angeles.
Yes. We have a beautiful show to get today. We'll be talking about your future versus your fear. And those two things are often diametrically opposed to each other. And we're going to get into that and more when we come back.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Foojan Zeine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. So you are a licensed clinical psychologist, correct?
I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Whoa, even more.
Hello, doctor.
Hi, how are
Meeting
you?
you. Thank you so much.
Same
I'm
here.
doing great.
Same here. I love it that I get to know the new people today.
Yes, likewise.
Likewise.
It's an absolute pleasure to get to know you today as well. So today we'll be talking about future versus fear. I'm sure that fear is something that you see a lot dealing with couples that need work and with families that need work. Correct?
Absolutely. I think fear is a basic emotion that we all have, and it's there to protect us. So it's telling us, be careful, do something about it, watch for everything. But one of the things that happens is that we get caught in fear, which stops us from moving forward. And we take something that happened in the past, and maybe it didn't go very well. So what we do is we take that and kind of like shove it right back into the future and scare ourselves really and stop ourselves from any types of action. So taking the fear out of the future, it's really supports us to create a vision for the future, what it is that we want to do, what is it we want to create, what part of us we want to shine and allow to grow in the future. And then with that goal, make it tangible and then create action plans to get there. And trust in a way ourselves and our own skills that it got us here.
Yes.
And with those skills, we're going to go forward. And if we don't have all the skills that we need for whatever goal it is, then let's go learn it. We didn't come from, we weren't born with all the skills all at the same time. Obviously, we learned them as we went along, and that's what we're going to do as we go toward the future.
Yeah, rational fear can protect us, but irrational fear could be so prohibitive to advancing in our life and to achieving the things that we're supposed to achieve. I always say fear is the mind killer and doubt is the devil, and both things keep you away from fulfilling your ultimate destiny.
Absolutely. You talked about rational fear. And I think that what we want to do is do reality check. Look at, if I'm afraid, what is it that is here? Is there really a reason that I need to be afraid of? And then I need to create actions in order to protect myself at that point. So when I take those actions, then I need to let go. I can release those fears. Emotions ultimately are like signals. They're just telling you there's something that is going on and you need to do something about it. Now, there could be happiness, a joy, which is great. You experience it and you continue enjoying it and having it with people who are there. You experience sadness or shame or fear. You get the message and see what you need to actually do about it in order to let it go, but protect yourself. So you're very right about the rational versus the irrational. Irrational ones are the ones that we perceive, we assume, and we project. We take something that is not that big of a deal, we maximize it, we generalize it, and that's how it becomes irrational.
Question: in most of your cases, do you find that people usually have more fears of the unknown or fears of repeating past patterns?
It's mostly repeating past patterns and that they project it, or they see other people go through hardship and they project their hardship into their own future. So it's mostly that. The fear of unknown, it's almost like you have no idea what it is. So it's more like an anxiety. When you talk about what is anxiety, it's the worst case scenario that you put in there, but that's ultimately fear. Anxiety is the fear of unknown. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm just going to be afraid of this concept of unknown. But to be honest with you, isn't everything unknown? Isn't your the next moment unknown, right? Like, it was interesting because to me, I was waiting for Amir to show up, and suddenly the screen opened, and it's two other beautiful beings in front of me. This was unknown. I didn't know about this. So see, I mean, unknown can be so beautiful when you're open to just like immediately embracing it. See, but since we were born, wasn't everything unknown until we met it and then it became known?
It often is. And one thing I always say is that I embrace the unknown. I always say fear and faith can't exist in the same space. And if you have the right faith in the outcome, if your faith in your outcomes, then you'll believe that those things are going to come in right, and that there will be no space for fear.
And you can have faith in yourself. You can have faith in a way that you are as good as any type of skills that you've had so far. And I'm 58 years old. Hey, if I made it so far, I could probably make it longer and more, right? So it's more like you could.
I might have to check that number.
By the way, you look.
I might have to check that number.
For the age you just said.
Thank you. But it's more like I know that every single human being has it in them that at the moment of survival, everything you've ever known kicks in to make you survive.
You always have to be ready for shifting in the life.
So
exactly.
Another common way to describe fear is false evidence appearing real. Can you just speak a little bit about how people create all these images and all of these fallacies in their head to create false narratives regarding fear?
Sure. I mean, what we do is we create stories about ourselves and the world. And how we do that is based on, as we're growing up, depending on the messages we got from our parents, our school teachers, our friends, we come up with these stories. Some of these stories become very, very negative. And then if I live in a world as if that world is supposed to be harming me, I can't trust what's going on. I can't trust people. People of this race or this color or this from this kind of ethnicity are bad. Or if I walk in, this is what's going to happen. See, these are a lot of the maybe my parents, maybe cultural concepts that I take in and I put in a structure that is supposed to be then protecting me, but it's not true. It's labeling things, which it doesn't allow me to check in, to see what's in front of me, who's in front of me, and get to know them for who they are, or get to see and assess the situation as is and move forward with it. And therefore, I project a lot of things that have been going on around me or some experience I had at 3 years old or 4 years old, and then make that as if life looks like that every day.
Like I always said to myself, like, okay, the accident is happening every day. Everybody, every second, are crashing the cars somewhere at some point. Or I'm stopping to driving. I look at the point of that like that too. Then I know it's something going on. What should I stop? Should I protect myself and just move on for next level of the life, because I'm the one gonna create my life. I'm the one gonna fight with it and make it better off of it. Or I can just be scared and sitting at home. That's why I went and cut my hair, because I just want to be different at the hardest time. Like nobody was gonna go do the haircut or something, you know. As soon as it's open, I jump to it because I want to be different and in the positive way, not on the negative side.
I really, first of all, I love your haircut.
Thank you.
But I love what you said about the driving, because as you see, the only thing we could do is to trust ourselves and the ability to control whatever the machinery we're doing at any moment. And just going with what you said, a leap of faith, where everybody else is just going to do their best, because I can't control anybody else. I can't even half of the time control my own car, right? The only two things I can control is the steering wheel and the pedals. I can't control the engine or anything else at that moment, right? So the only thing that I'm banking on is my own ability. And then having a blind trust with everything else that is going to work out. And with this way, we still get to where we are and we drive every day.
Piggybacking on that, so many people have a fear of technology. Would you like to speak a little bit about that, and why is that such a common thread, especially as technology increases? Why is the fear of technology and the hesitancy towards it increasing as well?
I think what happens is that with everything that a phenomena that shows up, obviously it shows up because it's meeting a need. So we begin taking care of ourselves with it. We bring it into our life. It becomes part of our life. And then suddenly we see the other side. The other side is always human being can use the same thing for the greatness and moving forward. And people can use it in order to take advantage of others, control others. However they're going to be selfish about it. So as we start using technology and it becomes part of our everyday, we keep hearing now about all these other pieces and the consequences of that. Like everything you do, it has a benefit and the consequences. So then we begin hearing about the consequences and it scares us. We all get scared, especially if we think that there are some things other people have control over that we don't. So therefore, they start getting afraid of something that they're building their whole life around. You can imagine, we have built our whole life around this equipment. Everything is in that. We rely on technology to do everything. So then when you rely on something, you're always afraid that what if it's taken away from you? What if it's being utilized in a way to control you in a way? What if it takes the jobs away? What if it takes things away from me versus what gives it to me? But again, to look at isn't that true with everything? Like you drive a car, it takes you places, but you always have the option of getting into an accident. You can go on a plane, it takes you places, but you could get into a plane crash. It's really looking at how much can I use this in my life? Is there any way that I can protect myself against some of the things that it might have as a consequence for me, and be able to pick and choose and balance my life with it?
I have one quick question. Why every time, if like for example, we are looking for future, why always the negative thing comes to our head instead of looking the positive? You know what I'm saying? Maybe with everything going on, I work less. Like, you go to get your hair done. At the same time, you are working on your laptop or your phone at the time. But in the past, we couldn't do that, A lot of positive things happen. But my question is, why our mind always going to be worried about what negative going to happen?
Well, it does go to the positive. It doesn't hold on to the positive, but every goal that you make is a positive future that you've set up. Everything you say, oh, I'm going to go do my hair, oh, I'm going to do such and such, is actually projecting a positivity in the future. However, when we see the positive and we set it up, we'll be there about a couple seconds, and then we go into what if this, what if that, in order to problem solve. That's what our brain does. Our brain are set up to look for problems and then try to fix them and solve solve the problem, create some solution. That's how the brain is there, and it's there for, again, making sure that we have survived. We're surviving the world, so it's a functionality. But you got to also see there's a lot of automatic thoughts and automatic emotions that are going to jump in, but you get to choose which one you're going to hang on to.
One thing I will say about that is it all comes down to a mind state. We get to decide whether our life is a comedy or tragedy. And you look at the comedies, the protagonists go through all kinds of crazy things. Their houses may burn down, they lose their pets, they break up with their significant other, their family members shun them, their friends shun them. But we laugh the entire time because we believe that it's going to be okay. We believe that even though they're going through these turmoils, everything is going to be fine in the end. If we look at our life as a comedy instead of a tragedy, then the fear of the unknown diminishes, because we know, regardless of the trials that we go through, because you can't be a hero without trials. That's what makes heroes, if the trials make the heroes. And once we go through those trials, and if we welcome those trials, and we welcome the pain from those trials the same way we welcome being sore after a workout. After a workout, your muscles are broken down a little bit so they can be built back up into something more glorious. Sometimes we go through these trials in our life so that things could be broken down so we could be built into something brand new. And when we look at ourselves and we look at our life in this way as a beautiful, beautiful comedy, then the fear diminishes. I would like to ask you about us as being machines, spiritual bodies, and bioelectric machines. Can you talk a little bit about the science and the chemical reactions of fear?
Well, there's an amygdala that shows up in our brain, which produces the emotions and let us know that there's something going on. Based on our five senses, and some people say the gut feeling, your sixth sense, which is also around gut. There's a lot of senses around your gut. Picks up information. And picks up information way before you actually are aware and have knowledge that you have the information, and your body and your system react to it. Then you actually become aware after it's taken in, the stimulus is taken in, and your internal system has already reacted to it. Now, the reaction when we take information in, we usually look at it from two perspectives. Is it going to be safe, and does it give me pleasure, or is it going to be pain? And based on these two concepts, my system starts producing those types of signals for me to be aware. Do I need to protect myself somehow? Or do I need to just let go and let loose and be happy about it? So when you're talking about, if my outlook is a comedy, my outlook is the world is safe and everything is going to be okay, then obviously as the stimuli comes in, as the information comes in and goes through those filters, what I perceive the world as is going to be safe. But if I think that the world is not safe, any type of information that comes, it's going to go through the filter of, watch out, something is not safe. And it doesn't even give me the chance first to do reality check. And that's why many times is the awareness of what's going on inside of me. And if we could create a gap between the information, the emotion, and then reaction. So if I can create a gap between the reaction, then I can have time to assess what's going on. And is it necessary for me to react that way? Or is it that I can handle it any other way? Most of us, when truly something is dangerous, we automatically react. I mean, I don't know, you guys have done hiking or something. I've done on a trail where immediately with the side of my eyes, I saw a snake. I have no idea how I jumped. And I've even been told you shouldn't jump, but my body was going to jump. Like, I didn't make a decision. My body made the decision before I even knew there was a snake there. So I know that our systems are built that way, that is going to react when it's really a sense of danger. But when there's not necessarily a sense of danger, but it's a made up one by us, that's where a lot of emotion shows up, which I call like secondary emotion shows up.
Okay.
And based on that, we got to look at, is it real or isn't? And how do I choose to be with whatever is happening?
All right, so I'm a firm believer that there are no problems, only solutions waiting to be found. And we're a very solution-oriented show. So I would love, love, love if you can offer our viewers a couple of techniques, first for dealing with short-term irrational fear and techniques for dealing with long-term irrational fear.
Well, when we talk about the short-term irrational fears, there are things that need to be happening right away, right? And it's not life encompassing. So with those, it's more like, first of all, there's nothing wrong with fear. I don't want anybody, any of the people who are watching us, listening to us, to think there's something wrong with fear. There's nothing wrong with any of the emotions. I think that you need to actually identify the emotion, see what the message is, take care of the message with however you need to do, and then be sure to release the emotion from your body. With fear, where many times we need to either hold ourselves and take care of ourselves, or if we need to release it, like, animals release it through their body. They shake and throw it out. So you could walk, you could run, you could take care of after you actually figured out what it is to protect yourself. And long-term fears, they're things that we have created based on all aspects of our life, which that does not make sense. That becomes completely irrational. So it's breaking it down and looking at every area that you actually have some fear. There's some existential fears and anxieties, such as death. Every human being goes through the fear of loneliness, the fear of death. So those concepts, every stage of our life, we might have to handle and deal with it in a particular way. Again, the best way to handle fear, both long-term and short-term, it means that you do reality check. You come back and see what's going on and assess your surrounding and your skills in order to handle it and move forward.
Would you say that there is a major difference, or speak in brevity, between the difference between fear and full-level phobia?
Phobias are, phobias are a specific fear around something which becomes so intense that you're consistently avoiding it. Such as having a phobia about animals, whether it's dog or any type of animal, snakes, spider. A lot of people have spider phobia. Plane, driving, height. It's a specific fear and a complete avoidance. Yeah, so that's different than regular fear.
Arachnophobia, agoraphobia. So what would you like to tell our viewers before we wrap up this beautiful, beautiful segment with you? Would you like to give them one last thought on fear?
The fear, as I said, take care of yourself with your emotion, even if the emotion is fear. If you're not afraid of fear, this is the biggest aspect. People become afraid of fear itself. And if you get it, that is just the signal. Like when the light shows up on your car, you don't get freaked out. You'll say, oh, what's the message? Do I need oil? Do I need gas? What is it that I need in order to move forward? My suggestion is look at fear or any other emotion as beautiful signals that are giving you a message. Hear the message and take care of yourself.
Dr. Foojan, I have one question. What do you suggest, and what is your suggestion for the futures to get prepared for it?
I think that it's very important if you set up and envision. Visualization is great for especially people who can visualize. Some people can't, so that then it's great to do it in a conceptualization or abstract thinking. But if you can visualize a future which you can imagine, I'm going to be in that space. Imagine yourself one day in whatever that space is. Maybe it's your beautiful home. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's one day of ideal concept. You get off, you wake up, you get out of home, you wake up to a home, and what should my home look like? I get out, and what should my car look like? I'm going to work. What am I working? So you do this like one day of a magical thinking kind of concept. And then you systematize that based on what can be earned in reality. What is it that you could do as a goal to make it tangible? And then you create a tangible concept of the future for yourself. You create time limits for it. I desire to have this, or I intend to create this at this time. And then you create action plans based on that coming back. So if I say I'm going to do such and have such and such in 2 years, then I'll come back like a year and a half, a year, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. You keep coming back and you set up your action plan specifically in how to do it. This also gives you some reality check about, is something that I want just a fantasy, or is it doable? And in these parts, what type of skills do I need in order to gain what I want? And set this up visually all over your office or bedroom, and with all of that action-oriented stuff, think about how you experience the world as that every day, and then put the emotions in there too. Like, I intend to experience and feel this. So put that also in there. Because remember, we're doing all of this because we want to feel a particular way. We want to have a state of being a particular way. So don't say like, I'm not going to experience those way of being. Like, I'm not going to be happy until I get it. No. I'm going to be happy throughout the journey. Yeah. So make sure that as part of your goal, you also systematize your feelings, emotions, and states of being as you're going through every step. And even look at possibility of failure in the middle. Awesome. You put in possibility of failure here, and what would I do? And so it's not like the first time you create something doesn't go your way, then you say, that's it, I'm not going to get to my goal. Because you obviously are also looking at failure as part of that success. And it might show up at any time. And it's just something that the opportunity to learn from it and move forward.
Well, I wonder how many of our viewers have the rational fear that they're afraid that our segment with you is now over. And I am so happy that we had you on for the time that we did, and at the time that we were on. And I want to encourage everybody to go visit Dr. Foojan Zeine at Foojan.com. That's FOOJAN.com, so that you can get all of the beautiful information, so that you can set up an appointment with her, and so that you could deal with fear and other matters in your life to help your future be a better place. Thank you so much for your time, Doc, and thank you so much for your insight. We so appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Foojan. With all the information, I look more forward for the futures now.
Same here. It was beautiful to meet both of you. And thank you for all of you who are listening with your heart. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to get you guys a little bit of music now. Thanks again to Dr. Foojan, and stay with us. We'll be right back.